Hello and welcome to week 8 of our journey through Genesis 1. And so our Hebrew for this week is, surprisingly, verse 8. Vayikra Elohim larakia shamayim, vayihi erev, vayihi voker yom sheni. Okay, can you translate that? If you can, I imagine you would come up with something like this. And God called to the firmament, to the dome, although I was reading John Walton this weekend, he's okay with it being expanse. I haven't quite, I'm processing it. I'm going to go with dome. And God called to the dome, skies, remembering that Shemayim, heavens, is misleading because in English we think of heaven as some other dimension or some other place where God is not. We don't think of straight up where the birds fly. And in the original thought world of the Israelites, they would have been one and the same. You go straight up to where God is. God is in the skies. And so he is above the firmament. Let's go with skies. That's probably a better translation in its cultural context. And it was evening, and it was morning, day second. Interesting that. Well, let's go on to smoother translation. And God called the firmament skies, and it was evening, and it was morning, the second day. Okay, so let's go. I'm sorry I didn't have this unfold, build the suspense. I didn't put it on. Anyway, so and called God, and God called, standard issue Hebrew structure, verb, God, beginning with and. More on the grammar of this, again, very familiar form. We've seen it before. Larakia, to the dome. The kamatz, or the T, kamatz, is a long A, so we transliterate it as an A with a long mark. Transliterate means to put English letters to the Hebrew letters. So this kamatz is all that's left of the word the. So to the firmament, to the dome. And because if the wasn't there, it would be a Shiva. Of course, the Masoretes interpreted all this, right? And they were in the 900s AD. So we can dispute the points underneath, the vowels underneath. But why not? Let's go with the, to the dome. Normally it's hey patak doubling, right? But the hey is displaced by any preposition, and la is the preposition to or for. And ratios don't do doubling. It's in their contract. So we try to shoot a doubling dagesh into there, and it bounces off and makes this a long A instead of a patak, which is just a flat A. And we transliterate a patak, which is just a line. Are there any pataks today? There's a patak. There's a patak. We just transliterate that as a normal A with no line on top at all. Okay, so la rakia shamayim, skies. It's dual. Ayim means two skies, but we don't pay any attention to that in our translation. They must have at some point thought of the heavens as being divided into two parts, is my guess. So, and God called the dome sky, Vayehi, and it was. We've seen this before, and it was evening, and it was morning. Vayehi voker. Now, when the bait has a dot in it, dagesh, it's pronounced ba. When the bait doesn't have a dagesh in it, it's pronounced va. So I said voker. There are two kinds of dots, two kinds of dageshes. This is a doubling dagesh. Okay, that's enough. Overload. Okay, so Yom Sheni, second day. Interesting, you'll remember that when God created light, it said day one. But this is, that's, in other words, one is oh, good grief. I'm forgetting what the term is. Well, in any case, this is an ordinal. Sheni, second. Two, what is that? What is the word? Hold that thought. Cardinal. Okay, one is a cardinal number. Two is a cardinal number. First, second, those are ordinal numbers. So in verse 3, or in verse, whichever verse it is, when God creates light, it's day 1, but the cardinal number. But here, Shani is second. It's the ordinal number. Interesting switch. Of course, interpreters throughout the ages have tried to figure out what's going on here. The Jewish thinker Philo has an interesting spin on this that I enjoy because I like math, but that's not important right now. Okay, so there you have the translation. Grammar, again, sorry, it's not unfolding with suspense, but this is something we've seen before. Vav, patak, doubling indicates a preterite. They used to call this a converted imperfect, but it basically it basically indicates this is a leftover form from an earlier Semitic period, and it's a true past tense. It looks like an imperfect, but it's actually it has a long history in Semitic languages. The yod is called a preformative, which tells us that it's imperfect in form. And yod is a third masculine singular. Man, my Greek's messing me up, everybody. There we go, third masculine singular. The yod tells us that. And it's from kara, to call. And it's the basic call stem, Q-A-L, or Grundstamm. I like the letter G, it's shorter. And it's more English. Bad Ken. Okay, so this is a G converted imperfect, third masculine singular from kara. Elohim, again, im is a masculine plural ending, but it's always constructed as a, well, when it refers to God, the Old Testament uses it considers it singular. God said to the firmament, I pulled now this is a prefix. A performative is more part of the word. A prefix is part of the front. It's a separate word, if that makes any sense. So prepositions are prefixes as opposed to performatives, like the marker of the third masculine singular and the imperfect. Okay, so he called to the firmament skies. I already mentioned the ayim, and it was, okay, here we have another converted imperfect. Why is there no dagish? Vav, patak, doubling. Why is there no doubling? Why is there no doubling dagish? Why is there no dagish forte? Why is there no dagish gadol, the great dagish, the doubling dagish? Why is it not there? Because of an obscure rule that says that if the performative has a shva under it, the dagish runs away. It runs away. Okay, so, but it still means, and it was. This is from Haya. And it was evening and it was morning. Same form here, G converted imperfect, third masculine singular from Haya. Evening comes first and then morning. That's the Jewish day, right? Starts at sundown on Friday. The Sabbath does at least, but the day starts at sundown. Okay, Yom Shani, day second. Well, I'm sure there's much more that I should say, but I'm not going to. And I've already pronounced it, right? Vayikra Elohim larakia shamayim vayihi erev vayihi voker Yom Shani. Shani. Okay, so if you're one of my patrons, I'll see you for the Septuagint version of this on Wednesday.